Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. So Variety has just dropped a major article against Marvel Studios and a lot of the things that have been happening. Basically just summing up the past 2 years of events at Marvel, talking about things that have happened internally and the results of that externally with box office and public reception, right? So there's a lot of stuff in this article, and I'm just going to break down a lot of the things that were in here, like a lot of the major headlines, bit by bit, right? So because there's a lot of stuff to get to, and I want to make sure I get to it and talk about each important thing with enough time and with enough depth as I need to. So yeah, there was a lot of stuff covered in this article, a lot of stuff about the actors, a lot of stuff about the directors, but we're just going to break it down headline by headline basically, or topic by topic, like the biggest topics. So yeah, the first major topic is about Jonathan Majors, and this headline states, in the wake of Jonathan Majors' legal troubles, Marvel executives discussed backup plans, including pivoting to another comic book adversary like Doctor Doom. So, with a lot of stuff that's been going on with Jonathan Majors recently, I don't know the full details on it. He was arrested for a domestic abuse situation, which I don't know the full legal ins and outs of that, but I know there's been a lot of stuff going on social media. People saying that he's actually not a very pleasant person to be around, to say the least. I think he was actually or the CAA, which is a massive talent agency, parted ways with Jonathan Majors because of his reportedly brutal conduct, I think is how they stated it. So yeah, he is pretty much fucked. I don't think he's going to come back, and it sucks because Kang has been pretty interesting villain, and it would have been an exciting way to go for the future of the MCU. I mean, the stuff with Loki, and he was good in Ant-Man, but the stuff with Loki specifically has been really good with him. And I've liked his performance as Kang, but if his behavior is true, and if he's actually done the things that he's been accused of, which it sounds like he has, because there's just a lot of people coming out saying, with their stories about him, it's a done deal. He's not coming back, which I think it's obviously the best situation. I mean, you can't have a toxic work environment with someone like that. You just can't. So but yeah, and also the thing about this is that this has been going on for a while, so I don't know how long Marvel have been discussing this. They didn't really talk about it in the article, but yeah, he was, I think, was it in March or something when he was officially arrested? No, I think it was after Ant-Man came out, so maybe May or something, when he was officially arrested, and then everything started to come out. And yeah, that whole situation really sucks. I mean, I'm pretty sure his movie called Magazine Dreams, about a bodybuilder, was just put on hold indefinitely. So I doubt we'll ever see that. But yeah, this whole situation has been really unfortunate. And obviously, my sympathies go to people who he has harmed and had brutal conduct towards, I guess. But yeah, very unfortunate situation. But look, I mean, it's Marvel. They're talking about switching, pivoting, I guess, to Doctor Doom. I don't know. Look, I don't read comics, so I don't know a lot about Doctor Doom. But it just sounds a little bit comic booky for me. I don't know how serious people are going to take it, or if they want to actually make their money back. I don't know how serious people are going to take a main villain named Doctor Doom. I understand that's his legal name, Victor Von Doom, but it's a bit cartoonish, so I think they probably have to rewrite that or do something with it. I don't know. But yeah, look, he seems like a cool character. He sort of blends science and magic in the comics. I just feel like it might be confusing for general audiences unless he's severely watered down, because he is a pretty interesting and, I guess, complex character, which it would have a lot of sort of explaining to do if he was to be the next big bad, and also a lot of explaining as to why Jonathan Majors Kang is leaving. They're gonna have to come up with a reason as to why he's no longer a threat. And based on what I've heard about the last episode of Loki, it sounds like they intended for him to stick around. So I mean, that's something they're gonna have to do anyway. But I mean, now they're definitely gonna have to do it. And if they're thinking about pivoting to someone like Doctor Doom, they're going to have to, think of ways around that and ways to explain Doctor Doom. So that was the first headline that I wanted to talk about. Now, this next one is pretty insane. It's about Blade, and the headline states, one person familiar with the Blade script changes says the story at one point morphed into a narrative led by women and filled with life lessons, with Mahershala Ali's Blade relegated to the fourth lead. Now, I'm going to be honest, that sounds like a nightmare for a Blade film. I mean, a Blade film should, first of all, be centered around Blade. I mean, relegated to a fourth main character is just, I mean, what were they even thinking? but also having the three main leads be women, like, that's not really a problem. But this is a Blade film. Was the movie still going to be titled Blade? I mean, and especially with that, there's like a whole toxic fandom out there that you can't handle when, like, you know, a woman is the lead of a movie, and so that would obviously bomb. I'm going to be honest, that movie would bomb if they went with that, just because of that whole toxic fandom would come after the movie and all that stuff. You know, it would come with that. But I'm going to be honest, they're not free of criticism here, relegating Blade. Mahershala Ali, who was I think 2-time Oscar winner, to a 4th lead character in his own film. He wanted to do Blade. I'm pretty sure he came to Marvel and said, "I want to be Blade." So that's how that's what he did that's the first thing he did after he got his 2nd Oscar. So, I mean, I think that's just disrespectful at that point. Like, in the article, they state how he's considered leaving, and the film's gone through, I think, 5 writer changes and 2 directors. I mean, this film has been a nightmare. I think they announced it in, like, I want to say maybe 2019, 2020 was when they first announced Blade. I mean, it's been 4 or 5 years. Where is it? You know, like, where is this film? I know we've had some casting updates with Mia Goth as cast as Lilith, but that's it. I know Kit Harington was supposed to be in it, which, by the way, I gotta tell you, Kit Harington, the Game of Thrones curse is real. I'm so serious, it is real. I mean, every Marvel project that has had a Game of Thrones character in it, or actor in it, has not done well. Secret Invasion was obviously the worst Marvel series. Eternals, which I really like that movie, actually. It flopped, and it's like the lowest rated MCU movie. So, that Game of Thrones curse is real. So I would not be surprised if it was Kit Harington who cursed this film as well, because he was supposed to be in it, obviously, with that post-credit scene at the end of Eternals. But yeah, apparently moving forward, Marvel wants to make Blade, like, a rewrite Blade. I think they've hired the writer who did Logan, which is pretty what's the word? Not up. I guess pretty makes me optimistic. I guess it's pretty encouraging that they've hired a great writer, because he did such a good job with Logan. But they also want to make the film for under $100 million, which I think is a good idea, to be honest. It's much less risk. I think this film sort of lends itself to being a little bit cheaper, because there doesn't need to be gigantic set pieces. I mean, he's a vampire hunter, you know? It's you know, it should be simple, like, action, cool vampire gothic action, I think, is what this film should be. It doesn't need to be a massive CGI set piece. You know, with Lilith. Lilith is like a character that I would assume would involve a lot of CGI, just based on what she is. I mean, the only incarnation of Lilith that I've seen, like, in sort of media outside of comics, is in the Midnight Suns game, and she looked like she could use a lot of CGI in a film adaptation. So I hope they sort of go a different direction with her, and they sort of just you know, just tone it down. Not everything needs to be a massive CGI fest. I think it's a good idea that they're going with an under $100 million budget for Blade moving forward. But I just hope this movie ends up getting made. And I feel really, really bad for Mahershala Ali, because, again, he's a great actor. I mean, he really shouldn't have to deal with this, you know, being fucked around like this, you know? So it's very interesting, though, to read about one of the scripts morphed into a narrative led by women, filled with life lessons. I mean, what could that mean? Like, what incarnation could that take? And again, I have a problem with a film led by women, obviously, but this is a Blade film, so let's make it about Blade, you know? I mean, it's fine to have, like, a second character, like, maybe Elsa Bloodstone could be in this, you know? I mean, from Werewolf by Night, she was cool. Why don't they, like, you know, throw her in there or something, you know? I don't know. I really don't. But I think moving forward, it's encouraging. They've hired a better writer. They're slashing the budget, which I think is a good thing. Yeah, I think this overall, I guess, a positive is coming out of this, but this entire film has just been like a massive nightmare for Marvel Studios. I mean, it really is disappointing too, because Blade is such a cool character, and I think this movie has so much cool potential. I mean, originally, I doubt they're going to go with this still, but it was going to be set in like 1920s London. You know, it could have been really gothic. This movie had potential. I don't know where they're going to go with it moving forward. I think they're just going to completely rewrite the script. I doubt it'll even take place in the 1920s anymore, but that would have been really, really cool. But yeah, so I just hope this film turns out great whenever it comes out within the next 10 years. But anyway, moving on to the next headline, I just wanted to discuss this one. It says, a single episode of She-Hulk cost some $25 million, dwarfing the budget of a final season episode of HBO's Game of Thrones. Now, That is insane. We know these Marvel shows have huge budgets, but $25 million for one episode, I mean, where is the profit in that? I mean, seriously, how did Marvel expect to make their money back, or Disney expect to make their money back up, like putting this straight to Disney Plus? I know it's not a movie, it's a show, but putting this on Disney Plus for $8 a month, it's I don't understand it. I really, really don't. I understand that first episode probably involved a lot of CGI with two Hulks and the setting, you know. I understand it, but it's just, there must be a way to do these shows with lower budgets. I mean, Secret Invasion had a budget of like $225 million, and look what happened to that show. What a gigantic waste of money. I mean, how do they expect to make that money back? I doubt Secret Invasion drove any more subscriber revenue. I doubt She-Hulk drove more people to subscribe, because both shows are bad. I'm going to be honest, like, I didn't mind some of the episodes of She-Hulk, but these shows are bad. They are not worth these budgets. I mean, shows like WandaVision and Loki have massive budgets because they draw people in. I mean, WandaVision, they are so lucky that succeeded, because one, it was a great show, and two, it kept people engaged. But it was their first Marvel show, so I think that's probably one of the reasons that it was a good idea to spend a lot of money on that, because they want people to, you know, come in for their first Marvel show. Obviously, the first MCU Disney Plus show will attract more subscribers, so I think that's justified in having a huge budget. I think they had like one of the biggest budgets for a TV show ever, and also Loki has a massive budget. But also Loki season 1 was the most watched Disney Plus series out of all of them, so it warrants it. But these, you know, She-Hulk, it just doesn't warrant it. I don't know if they're getting a season 2. I don't know what's happening with the character moving forward. The show just wasn't a success, and it doesn't warrant that budget, and it's just a waste of money. So yeah, I really don't know what they're going to do with She-Hulk or Disney Plus series moving forward at all. I think they just need to slash the budgets, make smaller scale stuff. Anyway, this next headline is: the Marvels director Nia DaCosta began working on another film while the Marvels was still in post-production. The filmmaker moved to London earlier this year to begin prepping for her Tessa Thompson drama Hedda. So yeah, this one isn't that crazy. I think Nia DaCosta's been getting a lot of flack recently because she's come out and said some stuff. Like, she came out and said something which was really strange, where she was like, this is going to be the first silly MCU film. And I was like, have you watched like the last 5 MCU films? Because, I mean, if you've just seen Thor Love and Thunder, then, you know, then you'll know that this is definitely not going to be the first silly MCU film. But she also came out and said that she sort of felt like she didn't direct her own film, and that it felt like it was directed by Kevin Feige, which confuses me, because at the time when she said that, like, when I read that, I was like, okay, I guess, like, you know, I'll have to see when I see the movie. But there was a clip recently released of, like, the fight scene in Kamala's house, and I thought it was really, really well directed. It had personality, you know, it had great music, the camera work was fantastic. It was really, really cool to see. It had some great personality, so that made me really optimistic. But, you know, I guess she's saying that she felt... Oh, she didn't outright say that she didn't feel like she directed her own film, but she sort of hinted at, like, oh, this is like a Kevin Feige. It's like Kevin Feige directed this film. That's sort of basically what she said. But anyway, this headline sort of talks about her leaving while the film was still in post-production. Now, this is confusing, right? Because at that point in post-production, I feel like it would have been like a little bit like late in post-production. I would assume that a director wouldn't have that much left to do. Like, she's sort of done what was, like, needed of her. I mean, it still would have been good for her to be there. But again, you know, she's got other commitments. I think, as a director, I guess it's good to stay with your film and sort of stick with it and, like, be proud of it, even if it is getting, like, flack and backlash from those, you know, there's going to be toxic groups out there that are going to come for this film no matter what, just because of who's in it, right? Just because they're women, basically. Like, I'm sorry, but it's the truth. I know people don't want to hear that, but there are people out there who that is the reason they don't like this film, even subconsciously. But, yeah, I think if you know, even if the film is getting a lot of backlash and a lot of flack, you need to stick with it because it leaves a better impression. I think leaving during post-production, I understand she probably has other commitments, but I think she would have been better to stick with it. But at the end of the day, is it the biggest deal in the world? I mean, you know, she did what she needed to do, and based on that clip, she did a good job. I think I'm excited to see the film. I see it next week, I think, like everyone. But that clip showed a lot of promise to me. It showed a lot of personality. It showed a lot of, like, creativity, and I liked it. I really did like it, and I was like, wow, this is really surprising, and really took me by left field. So look, hopefully the film turns out good. I'm excited for it. Honestly, I am. A lot of the recent trailers have actually got me pretty hyped. I like these characters. I really do. I like these actresses as well. So, look, I'm excited. I'm just very upset that they're not going to get a press tour because of the strike. But, look, I'm excited. And I think this... I guess she should have stuck with it. But at the end of the day, she's got other commitments. It's not the biggest issue. You know, I just wish she would take more ownership of the film. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on that. It's a smaller part. I just want to address it. But anyway, moving on to the last one, which is pretty massive. It says, sources say there have been talks to bring back the original gang for an Avengers movie. This would include reviving Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man and Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow, both of whom were killed off in Endgame. Now, I'm going to be honest, this reeks of desperation. It really, really does. Like, oh my god, they need to stay dead. I'm sorry. I don't ever want them coming back. Like, I know I shouldn't say that because oh my god, we love, look, listen, we love Iron Man and we love Black Widow. We love Scarlett Johansson and Robert Downey Jr. as those characters. We do. But they've had their time and they did great. I think bringing them back, it just reeks of desperation and it reeks of a cash grab. I don't even want them back in Secret Wars. I really don't. I don't know. Look, I don't know if this was always the play. Maybe this is like relating to Secret Wars or whatever, because Secret Wars is obviously an entire multiversal movie. But I don't know if this is like something they've been planning for a while since they announced Secret Wars, or if this is something they're just thinking about now with all the recent failures they've been having. They're so desperate they want to bring back the stuff that worked. No, do not do this. Like, I don't understand why they would need to do this. I mean, I understand why they think they need to do this, but like, to me, in my head, I don't know what I'm missing, but it doesn't seem that hard to just make another 5 films, make another lineup of Avengers, and make an Avengers film, How many films have there been since Endgame? Like 15 films since Endgame came out, and where is our Avengers movie? Where is even our, like, sort of Civil War movie, our little mini team-up movie? It's nowhere to be seen. And so, this just reeks of desperation, and seriously, I strongly would advise against this. I mean, would it be cool to see? Yeah. Would I be there the first day? Yes, I would. To see the new Avengers movie? Yes. By the way, the budget for that film would have to be like $800 million just because of their enormous paychecks. I mean, they're all ginormous actors. They were before, but now, I mean, come on. How much do you think Robert Downey Jr. is going to ask for if you ask him to come back for an Avengers film? I mean, come on, think realistically. Are you even going to make your money back at that point? I mean, they definitely will, because if they make another Avengers film, that film is going to make money. But again, it just reeks of desperation, and it's not a good idea. It's not good story-wise, and it's not good business-wise, because then it shows you don't have faith in your own stuff, right? If you just want to scrap everything else and be like, oh, She-Hulk and Miss Marvel and, Doctor Strange, it's not working. So we're just going to scrap all that and bring back the stuff that works. No. You want to bring back the formula that works, but do not bring back those characters right now, at least. Like, give it another, 5 years, maybe. I don't know. But, I don't see why it's so hard. I mean, listen, they've got the X-Men and stuff now. That, there's an argument to be made that maybe there's just too much stuff. Like, we've got the Fantastic Four coming. We've got the X-Men coming. How are they going to balance all this? And how are they going to make it work in a cohesive universe? I don't know. I think it's too much stuff, too much toys in the sandbox. There needs to be... I think they should do what DC does. Do Elseworld stories. Do stories that aren't connected to the main MCU. I think that's the only way you're going to make it work. Like, how are the X-Men going to coexist with the Avengers and the Fantastic Four? And then there's the magic side of it with Doctor Strange and Wanda. It's just... I mean, I understand she's like an X-Men, but still, there's just so many corners of the MCU. And like the supernatural corner with Moon Knight and Werewolf by Night, It's too much. It's too much. So, listen, I'm not going to get into it and talk about what they need to do to fix it. I already made a video about that. Go check it out if you haven't already. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about this damning article that came out against Marvel Studios. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Variety article that was just released. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. What do you think about this whole situation with Marvel? What do you think can be done to fix it? Let me know. I'm very interested to know your thoughts. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It would really help me out and I'd really appreciate it. Also, turn on post notifications if you haven't already. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.